Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Godless, episode 4. It's called Fathers and Sons. Full spoilers for the episode as always. So, we're still very much in the middle. I mean, it's exactly the middle of the show. It's 7 episodes. This is number 4. But what I mean in terms of the story, we're right in the middle because this is where we're getting lots of flashbacks to characters' pasts. Two characters specifically in this one get pretty extensive flashbacks to some of the story from them that we hadn't really. We'd heard stuff hinted at before, but we'd not really seen it. And we even start with a flashback actually of the mining disaster. Or I say the disaster just after the disaster when they're digging through the rubble to get to the men, and obviously they've gotten there too late, and most of them are dead. Very creepy scene. I will say. I specifically like the. People always talk about the rule of thirds when you're in photography, whether it's stills or filmmaking, and it's when they come back up out of this elevator. There's like two like beams, and the camera's like in the elevator looking outside, and it splits it into three precisely. It's like two squares on the side and then one rectangle in the middle. And it seems like a really easy thing to do, but I just like something about it, literally just splitting it into the thirds. Just gives it this unique feel to it. But
yeah, it does.
I liked it. No, very cinematic, but we've been saying that the whole time.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you got that flashback. You have the flashback of what actually happened, seemingly after Alice was in that flash flood.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't seem to put this part in her story, but she was attacked by savages who seemed to, be gang raping her when someone fires a gun and shoots them all off. It kills most of them, if not all of them. And we actually don't see until he comes closer and comes off his horse that it's actually Bill. This was when he was a good shot. So it's like, oh, we've heard that he used to be good at this. Sure enough, he's there and he puts his coat around her. It's kind of this. It adds an interesting dynamic, I think, because I think when we've seen them together before now in present day, there's been a respect, because everyone else thinks she's cursed and whatever, but he still goes up there. But at the same time, there's still kind of this animosity between them, and I'm not. It's just interesting maybe to see if we get maybe a bit more of a hint as to why it developed that way. When given this, she shouldn't feel any animosity towards him.
Well, no, she shouldn't. But I'm wondering I'm just trying to think what could have happened later, because presumably something has to have happened.
Yeah, at the very least, there's been a degradation of their relationship over the years, but certainly in this flashback, he is this hero. I wonder if it's just a simple case of she reminds him, or he reminds her, sorry, of a time when she felt weak. Because we've seen her, in present day, she's a very strong, independent person. She defends the house herself, she's the one with the gun, she does all these things. And I think it's interesting to see a time when she wasn't like that, and it's almost like this may have been the start of that path, where she wanted to feel strong, and that's why she went down that path. Because it ends up the whole thing after he comes to her, it plays out with just music. We don't hear them speak. When he drops her off at this Native American reservation, he doesn't we don't hear him. We can see that he's saying keep the jacket, but we don't hear it. It's all just the music. And again, very well shot, very beautiful.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
It is. It's played really nicely.
But she still has the jacket. The jacket he left us. She was staring at that in present day. And then the other flashbacks we get in this episode are to Roy's childhood when he had his big brother, presumably pre-Frank. He was quite young, and it's why he's dropped off at this, or not dropped off, but he ends up at this Moses town with this little orphanage, and his brother leaves him behind there, which he's not very happy about. He wants to be independent and go off with his brother and potentially open a ranch in California. How these two kids are going to do that? I mean, that said, by the time the speed they're probably going, by the time they get there, I mean they'll probably be a bit older.
So they probably will, yeah.
Yeah, they have very. I mean, as the nun even points out, you have you're making this long journey and you have nothing with you. You're so it's. I think I enjoyed Alice's flashback the most because it was probably the most dramatic.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think this is I'm a little more down on this episode than the past few.
That's fair.
I did feel the length of it, the flashbacks for Roy felt a little not redundant. But I don't think I really needed them.
Yeah, although I believe that nun's name was the name in the letter.
Yeah, Yeah, it was.
So that was the one crucial piece of information we kind of got from that.
Yeah, but we got when I can't remember who it was that mentioned that Roy would probably go and see the nun.
Yeah.
So we kind of knew that like it gets there's little bits there, but overall I don't think I really needed it.
I think the flashbacks probably drag the runtime a bit when they don't really need to.
Yeah.
Like I say, I like parts of some of them, specifically the Alice one. I feel like Roy's will become like, because I think that's not the last Roy flashback. I feel like we're going to get more Roy flashbacks in the next episode or two. And I feel like when we see where it goes, perhaps, because I feel like we're going to have to see him be taken by Frank.
Quite possibly, but I think even if we just see him be taken by Frank, if we didn't have these flashbacks, we already knew he was in this village, and because we knew he was with the sister, and then we knew that Frank came for him. So I don't know how much of this I really needed.
I don't have a problem with it being there. I maybe would have trimmed it down into one flashback.
Yeah.
Like, rather than go back again, I would have maybe just like because the scene with the nun first appearing is actually quite good. Like, them swearing at her and then seeing it's a nun and then be like, oh, sorry, like we thought you were a scoundrel or something.
That's very funny.
Yeah, like I would have maybe just like had that and then cut to like his brother leaving, because if they'd left out the scene after that, it would have been kind of weird if like, because we'd be saying, oh, how did the brother leave, or where did he go?
Yeah.
So I think we didn't need that plot point, but you probably could have condensed it down into like one scene. Most of the present day stuff though, I actually I was into.
Yeah, I've got a couple of little things here and there. Again, just some of the relationship stuff I'm not really feeling in this episode.
Are you thinking Mary and the teacher?
I am, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things where I think it's a little bit more interesting here, because I feel like this is probably the first relationship like this Mary's had. So this like jealousy or this paranoia of what she's up to, like I think it is a bit more interesting than it typically would be at the very least. I'm not going to say I'm super into it necessarily, but
I get what you're saying, but when I was watching it, I was just like, I really don't care about this. All the work it's done to make me care about the characters over the last couple of episodes, which I've been really enjoying. This here, I was like, I don't need this. I didn't want this here.
Honestly, it didn't bother me that much because it was only 2 scenes.
No, that's fair.
I think sometimes you're a bit.
I think if it was in like if that was the only problem with the episode, it would be something that I'd overlook. But when I had like the stuff with the Roy flashback, so and then this, it feels like it's like in such a long episode, I'm feeling it more because of that.
Yeah, I'm not super worried about this, because I think it puts them in a place where, let's say something bad happens to the teacher. Like, we've been speculating something bad might happen to some of these people that some of the quote unquote fighters care about. I could see, like, the last time we spoke we had a fighting, because it was actually quite damning. Like the little moment where she says, "Oh, I should have expected this, given what you are." Like that was a really sort of like, "Oh, you just twisted the knife for no reason." And you wonder, because Mary is feeling kind of. She's in a bad place this episode, earlier on, and this is the stuff I really like with her, is she's going around the town and she's seeing that these men that are with Logan, like they've all kind of, like they're making themselves very friendly with a lot of the ladies, and they're taking over the police station, and they're like, he's got his feet up, the other women are bringing him food and stuff like that, and they're flirting, and it's kind of like, everyone's just kind of like throwing themselves at these men, and like without even questioning what they might be up to or what they're really here for, or what like the idea that everyone's just handing over this power and she's not ready to do that. She's the one asking the questions. I like that stuff with her.
I did too. I thought that stuff was really strong. Yeah.
So because when the eventual dispute comes, with Logan and his men, I think it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. With her specifically, I mean, I can see her trying to have a dispute with them and it not going very well because she's on her own.
Yeah, probably. Not. I can't see anyone else really standing in
until the good characters rally, or does she go down and then her brother comes back and is like, "Hey, wait a minute, like,
could be.
What happened to my sister? Oh dear." But again, I'm speculating that more people are dying as motivation for other people to step up and fight, where maybe Belle doesn't need that. Speaking of Belle is on the trail. He's at the town. He's very upset with the sheriff of the town, who's like, "Oh, you let Frank just come in here with his men and let him ride back out," because the sheriff knew quite well He's he's not going to win this fight, and he's not very happy. He then keeps on their trail, and he actually gets to where Frank went this episode, where we've seen the majority of Frank was at this sick house where all these people who have various things, smallpox. One person speculates leprosy might even be in the house.
I think that was just him reaching. It looked like they all had the same thing. Yeah. They all had the pox.
But of course, we're in a time period here where medicine isn't what it is today.
It is, yeah.
So you just kind of assume a lot of bad things that maybe aren't as much of an issue anymore, and I think it doesn't make you like Frank anymore. Frank has done enough awful things that he is never going to be likable.
Definitely.
He's murdered, he's raped, he's done all these things.
There's no way you can like him after this point.
There's no way you can bring him back from that. But arguably, this does add some weird depth to him.
It makes him more interesting.
Because he tells his men to ride on to the river and set up camp, whatever. He's like, but I'm going to stay here with these sick people and I'm going to help them for the rest of the day. And essentially, what it all boils down to is he essentially puts them all out of their misery, but he's very humane about it. He talks nicely to the woman who's looking after them, who's also sick. Like, she's sick herself from looking after them. And he gets two men that were a bit mouthy before they left to stick around and dig all the graves. And that's when, when Bill arrives and we get that really beautiful shot, like going up over the roof of the building as he goes out to the back of the building, and we see all the graves, like, probably about 30 as well, the graves. All these, and it's just kind of this idea if you wanted to give these people a proper ending, and it at least shows that he does have some respect for some things, and at least like, did someone he care about when he was younger die of sickness, so he respects sickness and the people who go through it.
I think it's again this idea of respecting strength, because this isn't their fault. They're fighting the sickness as long as they can, especially this woman who's there looking after them. She's clearly ill herself, but she's still there going and doing what she can. And I think that's the difference between, Frank usually kind of picks on the weak, the people who don't stick up for themselves, whereas these are doing as much as they possibly can. I think he has some sort of... He's all right with that.
I can see that. I wonder if what moments that will give us later on, like when people do fight back against him and potentially, I imagine, win. Like, when he's going out, because he keeps saying that he's seen his death and it's not going to be this sickness. He knows what it is. It's not going to be today. He keeps saying that, and I'm just like, I'm just waiting for the moment where he's dying. He's like, "Yep, this is my death."
I can see it. I can see the idea of it be someone 1-on-1, take him out properly, and he'll.
Well, it has to be Roy, right? Like, at least right now, he's the only one who seems fitting to actually take him on.
Yes, and I mean, but also Bill would have a lot to gain from finally completing his journey.
You think Bill's surviving to the end?
It's possible.
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, maybe he will. But Bill, might like have his happy going blind life after this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, in the same way you're talking about how Roy's the obvious one because he's got the personal connection with Frank. I think for Bill, if you're going to go that route, it's the idea of his mission that he set out on was one last good thing as a sheriff, and so there's at least an argument to be made. I think
I can see it. Like I'm not going to argue against it that much because I think there's some dramatic weight to Bill being the one who actually gets him.
Alternatively, the other choice I will put forward as a potential is Chucky, Alice's kid. The whole idea of Roy's being his father, and he's becoming a man, and that they're kind of completing that cycle.
I tell you what, one would entertain me. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would entertain me.
Go on,
Whitey.
Yeah.
I want Whitey to take him out.
I don't think I realised until this episode just how young he is.
Yeah, he's also very likable after this episode. I feel like it maybe took a little bit longer some of the other characters.
Yeah,
but he's pretty likable now as well. But just to go back to Bill and Frank, because their paths actually cross at the end of the episode. He, Bill pulls the horse, pulls over as if he's in a car. You know what I mean? He stops by a river and he goes in and he's like washing his face, taking some drinks. And by the way, that river looked disgusting. I'm like, don't drink
washing
that.
some dirt off your face, sure.
But drinking it?
I would not want to drink that.
No. But then again, his eyesight's shit, so maybe he doesn't realise how bad it looks.
he thinks it's dark just because his eyes are going all
yeah, he's like, nah, it looks like shit water. Just stop yourself.
Yeah.
But sure, and I love how it plays like Because that's the thing, like, Frank has 30 men, I don't think you really recognise most of them. Like, because they're just all guys with beards. They all kind of just
Yeah,
blend
there's maybe
together.
one or two that you've kind of picked up by now.
So this guy's just sort of around this corner of this, like, this block in the river, and you don't necessarily realise right away that it's one of Frank's men, I don't think. You're like, oh, is this just a random traveller, a couple of random travellers? And then eventually you sort of go further around and you see Frank, and you're like, oh dear. Like, and I didn't for a second think Bill was going to be dead at the end of episode 4. Like, I think if he could be a big death in the final episode, but I don't think it'll be before then, if he is going to go. But then
Okay.
again, I could also see this show wanting to surprise me with that and be like, no, episode 4, he's done.
I could see it not being this episode because last episode had the Marshal, but maybe next one.
But no, so he's hiding his badge as he's talking to them. He's making sure that they don't know he's a lawman, and it's kind of the same thing that we saw Roy do last episode with Logan, where he intentionally tried to make himself seem more feeble and weaker than he was. And the funny thing is here is he kind of is because of his eyesight. We know that he's actually, you know,
Yeah.
but he's kind of doing the same thing where he's intentionally hiding his badge. He's making sure that he seems like a doofus. He's going to Wyoming, but no, that's the wrong direction. It's like, oh, is it? Oh, that explains a lot. I'm a bit of a fool. Like, he's really playing it up. But Frank's smart enough to, like, I think you're not what you say you are.
Yeah, I think he plays it up a bit too much.
He's like, you're more capable than you're leading on. And he's just like, are you a lawman? And he's like, yep. And he shows him the badge and the rest of it. And Frank's like, some men want me to kill them because then they have this heroic death where they went out against the great, Frank. And he's like, do you want me to kill you? And he says, well, I'd like to kill you first. And and maybe that's the line that saves him because he doesn't shoot him. Frank lets him be on his way.
Again, I think it's maybe that the respect of not authority, but kind of the honesty with what he's doing.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a respect for authority. He killed the marshal last episode.
No, that's what I mean.
With that sex
That's to say, it's not authority, but power. And this is this standing up, you're being honest with who he is. It's like, yeah, I'd like to do that.
See, I don't know. I actually have a different read of this scene.
Okay.
And I get that it's a little bit different to how Frank operates with lots of other people. But at least this is how I think Belle might feel after this. I think Belle's going to feel weak because Frank didn't even care enough about him as a threat to take him out. I think part of it is that. I think part of it is like, yeah, this guy's not any danger to us. Like, what's he hoping to achieve here? He's not a threat. And obviously we hope this comes back and bites him in the ass because ultimately we want Belle to be a threat to Frank. But I think he's going to feel belittled after this because he didn't even care enough to shoot him in the head to stop him from coming after him.
Probably that would make a lot of sense because, like you say, a lot of his journey at the minute is feeling weak anyway because of his eyesight and just kind of stumbling on through anyway. And does he give up after this and go, this isn't worth it? I stood 6 feet away from him and I still couldn't do anything.
Yeah, in fact, even just the fact that he stumbled onto his men without realising, and then, oh shit, I'm surrounded by Frank's men.
Yeah, it's funny because in all of his questioning, he keeps saying, "Oh, it's 30 men, you can't miss them," and then
he does.
Yeah, exactly. It's like suddenly there's 30 men. We keep seeing how people quote sneak up on him when obviously, but and it's the same kind of thing here. He doesn't notice 30 people.
Yeah, because one of Frank's men comes out from behind him mid-conversation and just stays there, and it's not until much, much, much later where he finally turns around and sees him.
Yeah.
He's just there the entire time, so... also worth mentioning, the Native American guy that he ran into is kind of following him, and he pops up twice in this episode. He pops up earlier on, and Belle, has a couple of sarcastic lines about him following him, but then he's here as well. He's, watching from a distance. He doesn't intervene or do anything or interact with anyone in any way. He just kind of watches, and then sort of afterward, again, it's almost like he's kind of weak, and the Native American just kind of disappointed almost wanders away. He's just he leaves him there, and that's kind of how we end the episode. We end up with just him standing, knee deep in this filthy water, just feeling small. That's how we end the episode. And I just. It makes sense to have him at an even lower point before he has some success.
It does. Like you say, this is the middle of the story. We kind of got to get everyone to feel weak at this point. Or you feel the threat is what this and the next couple of episodes need to be.
Yeah. So that was Belle and Frank's story. So let's go to Whitey. Let's go to Whitey. He goes to see Louise again, and he's helping her get some water from the river. With their blind donkey, and don't think it didn't escape my attention that this story about the donkey being blind and not taken to the sun, but still being useful. Like it was making me think of Belle. Obviously, there was some parallels to draw there.
I'm sure he was thinking that as well.
Yeah, well, because obviously, Whitey, of course, yeah. Just this. The story about how they were all put in the dark and then they were all brought out, but some of them didn't take to the light. It's almost like the life that he led, the Bill led. Like, this was the price that he inevitably paid. Is that
this is the cause of it almost.
Yeah, but no. So we actually have a very sweet moment between them where they kiss. And there's some nice flirting before then where she kind of actually just blatantly says, "You're trying to seduce me," and joking about him needing a bath and whatnot, and then tries to give him a bath. He grabs her back and they both end up in the river. But then her father shows up, not particularly pleased at the sight, makes him run along, and basically just threatens and says, "Hey, if I catch you back here near her, it's not going to be you that I raise my hand to." Very obviously it's off the time, but it's just very threatening.
It is.
Whitey's actually leaving. He's back at his horse. He's getting ready to leave, and he's actually still sort of in vision of the small town, and he sees her father like put her over like the bench and pull down her skirt and start spanking her with his belt or whatever it is.
It's like a little whip almost, isn't it? It's like got tails. It's got a few things on it.
Yeah, it's very it's savage. Especially for modern eyes, but Whitey is not pleased about this, and he pulls out his rifle, and he has a moment of hesitation where he's like, "Can I withstand seeing this and hearing these screams?" Because she is screaming, she is bellowing.
Yeah.
And he takes his rifle. He's like, "No, sorry, Mister, this is just not happening." And he's got his rifle out over the horse, and at this point, before Roy shows up and kind of like doesn't put a stop to it, but he kind of interrupts it, which makes Whitey reconsider what he was doing. I actually thought he was going to fire a shot, but I didn't think he was trying to shoot him specifically. I thought he was going to shoot the thing out of his hand, or
I thought he was just going to shoot the ground, be like a warning shot. I was like, "Look, I can do this too."
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to murder someone. I thought he was just going to be like, "Hey, stop that right now! Like, you're in my sight."
Yeah, same.
That's what I thought he was going to do. But Roy's actually just coming back from hunting with Truckee and his grandmother, and kind of intervenes. And again, it's this idea that Roy kind of wants to de-escalate situations as much as humanly possible, because he specifically says, "Why don't you ride along with us?" Like, as much as he didn't put a stop to it in the first place, he makes a point of asking that and say, "Hey, come with us, so you're not around here and tempted to do anything else."
Yeah, you can't like, if you go back to town on your own, you won't feel like you're going to turn around and come back and do what you thought.
Yeah, so he actually comes back with them and comes in for supper with Alice and the family, and they have some food. But no, there's a nice moment after that though, where like, because Belle earlier on, the journalist Greg, I think his name is, he's coming to town. There's a really nice shot of him coming into town when it's like pissing a rain, and he's just riding the rain. He comes in and he's just drenched, and he's finding out about the town of LaBelle. All the men are missing, blah 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 blah. All the things we already know. And he's passing around this wanted poster of Roy. He's like, "Hey, because he had that note that Bill had where he put the initials but didn't say who it was." And he's like, "Oh, so I heard that you're Sheriff Bill. He caught this guy." And Whitey's like, "No, nothing like that." But it's this scene later on where he's telling this to Roy, and it's actually a really good character scene where he's kind of like, yeah, he's passing this around, and it's a bit of a likeness, but I said no because. Man in that wanted poster, he was an angry man who would be the one dishing out the punishment. He wouldn't be the one stopping bad things from happening.
Yeah.
And he ends the scene by saying, "So I'll see you around, Mr. Ward," or whatever the fake name.
I think it was Ward. Yeah.
And it's this really nice scene of like, yeah, I know it's probably you, but you actually seem like a pretty decent guy. And it kind of goes back to the first or second episode where Roy's in he's in the jail cell. And Whitey was being very friendly with him, and they were being very friendly back and forth at the time. And it's kind of like he's been around him enough now and seen him do enough things where he's like, no, he's not this vicious murderer or whatever
Yeah, like,
closest
he
saying
knows
is.
that he's not out of prison because he wanted to be. This
Yeah.
this was all Alice, and he kind of went along with it, but he didn't really have much choice. Neither did Whitey. There was a gun,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then when he came up, he probably would have gone back with them. When he came up with the ladies with the carriage. I'm like, all right, come on, and Roy probably would have if Alice hadn't been like, no, he's staying.
He's very cooperative
Yeah,
with everything that's going on. There's been no hints of anything else like that. So, but no, it was a nice thing of respect, and it kind of makes it's setting the playing ground again for when everything goes down. It's someone that we care about a little bit, but it also means that if something happens to Whitey, it's someone that Roy cares about
yeah.
because Roy has a respect for him now, I think, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think it's kind of showing Roy's slowly becoming a part of this society. Like, it's mostly with Alice at the moment, but there's the odd thing like this, and he did have that sort of camaraderie with Bill as well that kind of puts him at least with the town to a point.
Yeah, and Whitey as well, much more
Yeah,
likable, and this idea that he's because we already kind of care about Bill, or not Bill, sorry, well we do care about Bill, but Roy,
right. Yeah,
and him having this mutual respect with him now, and not turning him in, and not going to the newspaper guy and being like, hey, like he's here and it's him and it's what, like the idea that he's defending the secret is actually, but again, it makes him someone else that Frank will want to kill because he's now complicit in harbouring him, if you will.
yeah, exactly. Frank's just going to burn the whole town down.
He's going to try.
He's going to try. Yeah,
He's going to try.
maybe we can get some of that torrential downpour to put out some of the fires.
Before we go back there or go over properly to Roy, I just want to mention another scene with Louise's father because Logan and his men come into the town and basically warn him. It's like, hey, we'll even help you out and get some fresh water because they mentioned in the main tarnished their
Poisoned
water,
it, yeah.
and they couldn't grow things anymore. And he's like, oh, hey, we'll help you out. We'll give you access to water from the river. We'll be able to, help you all along. And the only thing that you need to do to get that is to mind your own business. Keep to yourself and don't interfere with the town. And he specifically, Logan even cites, he's like, in case one of the ladies come over and tries to like gain a favour or ask for help. And it's this idea, kind of like how last episode I was like, oh, now we've got like some backup potentially.
Yeah. It's funny because we're allowing it won't be one of the ladies coming over and asking for help.
No,
it's going to be Whitey.
It's going to be Whitey. But I actually I like the idea that Logan himself is actually kind of seeing
He's
this.
thought of this. Yeah, he's like, hang on, these guys over there, they have a reputation. Let's not piss them off. Let's get on the right side and sort this out. Like, because they go essentially a peace offer. It's like, here, have water. You say that's what you want. Great, just take it.
Yeah, but if you don't do what we say, the company will make sure you get kicked off your land and you'll have to go elsewhere. So, there was a bit of it. It's just not a nice peace offering. There's definitely like, it's carrot and stick.
There's an undercurrent, yeah. But they're clearly trying the nice stuff first.
Yeah, so no, I just, obviously, well, that was worth mentioning because it's definitely a plot point worth coming back to later. But over to Roy. So he goes hunting. He wants to take Truckee hunting because he's never been hunting. He feels like it's something he should learn. I think given the time period again, it's something he probably should know by his age.
Yeah.
So they're going to go hunting. There's a nice, funny little moment where Alice, like just before they're leaving, she brings like a sort of like a picnic basket. Essentially, says, "Oh, there's enough in there for lunch and maybe dinner as well, because it's going to be an overnight trip." And then she's like, "Hey, would you mind some company?" And Roy's like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And he's like, "Yeah, because it's been a while since Grandma's been on a hunt. She wants to go." And he looks so disappointed that it's not Alice coming with him. He's just so upset.
Yeah, cracked me up.
And then there's just repeated like funny moments later on with like the grandmother like singing really loudly next to him, or like cutting the deer and just having all the
being a phenomenal shot.
Yeah, the blood pouring out right next to his head when he's sleeping, like just all these little things.
She was very funny this episode.
She was. So obviously, from Truckee's point of view, though, he doesn't quite shoot the deer. He almost does. He's got the perfect shot lined up, but he waits too long and it goes. So obviously, he's going to shoot someone. Maybe it will be Frank later on, but he's going to get over this and shoot someone eventually.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be a case of, okay, this is what I need to do now. Whereas here, because obviously the point of the hunting is, they need to eat, but at the moment he's not starving, so he's not ready to do it yet. But it'll be the point where, okay, no, this person is a threat. Like it's kill or be killed.
Yeah, because that little moment as well when he finds the wooden gun, and he's like, "Hey, show me some tricks."
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I don't know any tricks. Like, and he's like, yeah, but I seen you with that snake. And he's like, well, that wasn't a trick. That was just, I wasn't even thinking when I did that. It was just, that's what I had to do. So it almost like ties into that. And even the thing with the horse last episode with Truckee like falling off and getting back on, falling off and getting back on. It took some tries, but he eventually did it. So I think it's kind of also, that's also mapping out his kind of journey.
Definitely.
I can actually see Roy dying at the end of this, but Truckee will be left living to like, kind of like not carry on his name because it's not his son, but
no, but his legacy almost.
Like his teachings will mean something because Truckee will grow up to be a strong person and have this in his life.
Definitely.
So just one or two other small bits to kind of reference that we kind of skipped over. One being the carriage that they find in the river. It's a mail carriage by the looks of it. At least there's a mailbag inside it that he finds.
Yeah.
But he's talking about how they thought they could cross and obviously they couldn't. Probably during the rainstorm, which is maybe the bad idea.
Yeah, they thought that. No, that was it. He said they thought they'd waited long enough, but clearly not.
And the dead body floats to the top, so it's like, oh, this is pretty grim. Yeah. Meanwhile, Grandma's over the other side grabbing
smacking some fish.
Yeah,
yeah, smacking it against the side.
She's got dinner for the next 2 nights already prepared at this point. Like he's still just trying to teach Truckee things.
Yeah, no. I think that the messaging of this is pretty clear. The idea of, don't rush into it because you get killed. Have some patience, wait for the moment. I think, it's pretty clear here.
Yeah, I think it is. But right, so you got all these things setting elements up, settling from character perspectives. Everyone feels like they've got something to overcome going forward.
Yeah, definitely.
And specifically Whitey and I think Belle are both maybe at their lowest points because Whitey, like he's almost with Louise and then he's stripped away from him and and then now he's like forced to not be around her and so he's at a really low point. Belle's at the lowest point outside of people who are dead, and so you got all this. So it was still, obviously we had a couple more nitpicks in this one than maybe some of the earlier episodes.
I really do think it's the first one I've really felt the length, and that's they've all been this long, if not slightly longer.
What's funny about that though is the next two are the shorter ones. The next one's like I don't know which one's which.
50 and then 40.
Is it 50 then 40? But either way, it's 50 and 40 are the next two, which is 50 is still a lengthy episode, but it's 20 minutes shorter than this was.
Yeah. For most TV, we go 50. That's slightly longer than your average network show.
It's meaty, but it's not super short or super long. But I think that's interesting that now we're going to get these quicker episodes that maybe are going to be more plot focused. Maybe we've gotten a lot of the character stuff, building out the way.
Yeah, quite possibly because this will all be setting up the end game because this is 5 and 6. That only leaves the one long one then for the end game.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to feel the length in that one because that's going to be the big final.
That's going to be that'll be the conclusion to everything. So I think this might be the only one of the season where I feel it.
Yeah, because the next two are a bit shorter, and then I think that makes sense. So. But there you go, that is episode 4 of Godless. So we got 3 left. The next one will be a little bit longer than the last couple of gaps. It will be on Sunday night. That is when we'll be getting to episode 5. We'll be doing one of those on Sunday as well as one of the new Netflix show that's launching on Friday called Dark. So you can expect one of each on Sunday. It's a shame it has to overlap, but Connor's actually away for a couple of days, sort of Friday, Saturday. As a result, we have to have a bit more of a gap. We can't get as much TV done during this week. But so you can look for that on Saturday. Sunday, yeah, you're right. He's back at some point during Saturday, but we have a double Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to do on Saturday, so that's all that's getting done Saturday night. Pretty
much.
So, it's Friday night that actually airs, but obviously we're not around on Friday to do it. So. Yeah, so that'll be on Sunday. But let us know what you think of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. There'll be a link to that in the description. Also in the corner of the video. That's the right side as well. Yay.
Well, that makes a change.
I didn't even mean that. I think I just naturally go that way if I'm doing the 2 thumbs. But I think I'll just keep doing that now because it's always going to be in the right direction.
Yeah. You're not quite... The angle's a bit off, but...
Well... It's more the upper corner than the lower corner, and since I said the corner, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll do.
Aye. So critical. But anyway, that is us. So, so thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?